hope you're ready to have a fun hour making your own ukulele. So you will need a cereal box. Mine is this one. You will also need something round to draw around, to draw your template. It should ideally fit over the box so you've got a little bit of space at the edges. You are also going to need a pencil to make your drawings with, and a pen which is going to be thick enough that you can see your lines. You will need a ruler because there are some straight lines being drawn here, and with an adult's help, some scissors, but you must have an adult there to help you out. Now, because the inside of cereal boxes are brown, you might want to cover it with something to colour it in. So you can also use some coloured pencils if you have them, and you'll stick some paper over the top of that brown on the inside of your box just to make it easier to colour over. So let's get ready to go. So here I have my box. You will need an adult to help you cut down your ukulele. So you need 3 big sides and the bottom to stay whole. So here we go. We'll cut down this side. And then you are also going to cut down the other long side there. So just 2 long sides of cutting. So I'll just speed that up so we get through that. So now you have this front open, you can flap it around. Your next job is to cut on these short little sides just here. There we go. So again, with an adult's help, you're going to cut along that little short side and along the other short side. Really important to have a grown-up helping you out here. So you should now be able to open your cereal box out to a long cereal box shape, flat on your table, quite happily, like this. Ta-da! So next you need to take your bowl or whatever round shape it is you're using, and at one end of your cardboard box you are going to place it on so that it fits over the whole of your bit of cardboard. With your pencil you can draw all the way around that, making sure the line is really nice and clear. So you've created a circle, and then you're going to draw another circle slightly overlapping your first circle. So again, just make sure it fits on and you've got a bit of an overlap. Brilliant. So if you take your stencil away, you can now see that you have 2 circles, one here, and an overlap in the middle. So what you want to do next is take a rubber. If you've got one on the end of your pencil, great. You can start to rub out those 2 lines. So instead of it looking like 2 circles overlapping each other, you'll start to have what looks like a number 8. And once you've done that, you should see that there are 2 points there and there which are opposite each other. So if you want to now, you can get yourself a smaller circle stencil. You can pop that in the middle of those 2 points and draw around it. And this will create your hole that your strings go above. So where you have the body of your ukulele, you have that hole that the strings go on top of. Now it's time to get a ruler out. So you are going to take your ruler and you're going to pop it on your cardboard box right at the top of that top circle. You're going to measure how wide your cereal box is. So don't worry about those 2 flappy bits on the side. You're going to measure how long it is. Now mine is 26 centimetres, so I'm going to measure in half, which is going to be 13 centimetres in the middle. So a little bit of maths for you to do there. Then you're going to go all the way up your box, measuring halfway in between. So again, there's mine 26 centimetres. So I need to go right in the middle and measure at 13 centimetres. And you're going to do that all the way up to the top of your box. Once you've got a load of little dots going up the middle of your box, you can take your ruler and line them all up against one side of your ruler and draw one big line going all the way from the top of your box to the top of your ukulele. This is the middle line of your box, so it's not making a string or anything, it's just the middle line of your box so you know where you're working from. So now it's time to do some really careful measuring. The width of your fingerboard needs to be 5 centimetres. So with your middle line, you need to put your middle line on 2.5. So there we go, that's my 2.5 right there, right in between number 2 and number 3. So that's where your middle line is going to go. So you can make a mark at 0 and at 5. So it should be 5 centimetres across, so 2.5 centimetres on one side and 2.5 centimetres on the other. And you're going to keep on measuring up there, so put your middle line on the 2.5 centimetre mark and then mark at 0 centimetres and 5 centimetres. We do another one of those right up to the top, 2.5 mark in the middle, mark at 0 centimetres and 5 centimetres, and once again at the top. So all the way up you should have a 5 centimetre fingerboard. Then you're going to line those dots up on one side, so I'm doing the right hand side first, and draw a big line all the way up, so that's one side of your fretboard or your fingerboard, and do the same thing on the other side to complete your fretboard or fingerboard. So that should join up to the top of your ukulele. We've got 2 lines there, so we can now rub out that middle line that we made to help ourselves measure. There we go, getting rid of that middle line. Perfect! You now have your 5 centimetre fretboard all ready to go. So now we want to draw the head of the ukulele. If you've used one of yours in school, you've probably seen it's not square off at the top. You've got a little pattern. So I'm drawing almost like a crown at the top, 2 lines that go into that middle, so they're almost like a really flat W. And then I'm just going to draw in a bit of a curved bit at the top, so it becomes a bit wider than that fretboard that we've drawn. You can get really fancy with this. If you want to make one that's in the shape of a crown, in the shape of a star, that is completely up to you. I'm going with a normal ukulele head point, which looks a bit like a whale's tail. So this is really up to you at this point. So now you can rub out some of those extra lines that we've got in there. So your maybe your 5 centimetre lines that mark out the fretboard, or if you've still got your middle line in there, just to make that a bit neater. So we now have the body and the fretboard and also the head. So we now need to add some winders, which you're going to add 4 of. Very easy, 4 winders to add. They are like a really big T shape, almost like you're doing bubble writing. So you add 4 of those, 2 on each side. The next step is to take a big thick pen and you are just going to draw around everything on your ukulele. So you'll need to draw around your winders, all the way around the head point, down the fretboard and around the body, including that nice big circle that you've already done. And you can just finish drawing that really clear line all the way around the edge of your ukulele, and there you have your whole shape ready to cut out. Now this next bit is really important. You must have an adult to help you because you are about to use a pair of scissors. Really, really important to have a grown-up here to help you out. So I'm going to start at the bottom of my ukulele. I'm going to start cutting out the body, and once you've done that, you can do your next step. This next bit is a really fiddly bit around the headpiece, so you need to be really careful not to chop those winders off because they're very delicate. So you might want to cut all the way around just to cut all the excess cardboard off, and then begin to work your way around the winders really carefully. Once you have finished cutting around those winders, you should have a completely cut out ukulele. Now this is the point where you can either choose to leave it as cardboard, or you can cover it in some white paper to make it slightly easier to colour in. I'm going to cover mine in some paper because I think my colours are going to stand out a little bit more, but this bit really is up to you. So you can do whatever you want depending on how you want to colour your ukulele in. Ta-da! There you have a new covered ukulele. So I'm going to start decorating mine with the essential parts of my ukulele. I need a ruler for this because we're going to be working on the fretboard and drawing the strings and the frets and all the other important things that we need to put on our ukulele. So first of all, you're just going to draw a straight line across the end of the headpiece and the end of the fretboard just to separate that, to make a nice thick line there. Then we're going to draw the strings on, so you still need a ruler here to do some measuring. You probably remember the width of our fretboard was 5 centimetres before, 1 to 5. So you're going to mark at every centimetre a little dot on 1, 2, 3 and 4. And again, about halfway down, you're going to put your ruler on, measure 1, 2, 3 and 4. One more time near the bottom, you're going to measure 1 centimetre, 2 centimetres, 3 centimetres, 4 centimetres. Ready for your 4 strings. Then you can get your ruler, you can line up those dots with your ruler, so we're going from the top of the headpiece all the way down your ukulele. Make sure those dots are really lined up with your ruler and draw one long line as far as you can with your ruler. And you're going to do the same thing across the other strings left to go. So lining up your ruler and drawing one long line all the way down. Brilliant, so just finishing off that last string there. Now remember, your strings need to run all the way from the top of your fretboard across that hole, the circle that you've made, to about halfway in between that circle and the bottom of your ukulele. So you need your ruler back again. You're going to line up your string that you've already drawn with the ukulele and then continue that line all the way down to about halfway between your circle and the bottom of your ukulele. And you can do that on the next string across. So lined up and draw another line all the way down, just continuing that string line. String number 3, lined up really nicely, really neatly, all the way down. And finally string number 4, really important to keep this one really neat too. Brilliant, well done. Fab, so your strings run all the way down your fretboard, across that circle and down to about halfway between the bottom of your ukulele and the middle of that circle. So you can just finish that off by drawing a line going straight across your strings. Remember, it needs to be a little bit wider than the width of your strings because that represents that little bit of wood that holds the strings onto the ukulele. So maybe if you draw 2 of those lines, you can colour that in a bit and make sure that it looks nice and solid like a bit of wood. So now you can go ahead and rub those ends of your strings out just to make it look really nice and neat. And there you've got your strings on your ukulele. Okay, so your ukulele is really starting to shape up. We've got strings that run all the way up that ukulele, the hole in the middle where your strings go across. You've even got 4 winders and a headpiece. So now we just need to add some frets, which are going to go across that fingerboard and separate out those bits where you're going to put your fingers. So you need your ruler again. This time you are going to measure 3 centimetres along each string. So we're going down the ukulele from the head. We're going to measure 3 centimetres, so we go 1 centimetre, 2, 3 centimetres. This is where your 3 times tables are going to be really important, so we're going to go for 3, then 6 centimetres, another 3 along to 9 centimetres, then up to 12 for another 3, 15, 18, and if yours can fit it on, 21. Don't worry if you don't get to 21, it doesn't matter. So then you're going to go up to the opposite string on the opposite side and do exactly the same thing. So 3 centimetres from that bit where your head joint ends and all the way along, measuring 3 centimetres each time. Then you've made your little dots of 3 centimetres. You can just draw straight across those all the way to the bottom. So 3 centimetres, 6 centimetres, your 3 times table doing a really good job here, 9 centimetres, 12 centimetres, 15 centimetres, 18 centimetres, and if yours is long enough, 21 centimetres. Really good, so we've got those frets. Now I think it's really important to make these frets nice and clear, so take a slightly thicker pen and you're going to get your ruler back again and you're just going to draw along those fret lines. Now if your pen isn't quite thick enough and you feel like it's not standing out enough, you might want to get a bigger pen like I do, but for now just draw along those fret lines so that they are nice and clear. There we go, that's my slightly thicker pen just to make it a bit clearer. So now I'm just colouring in that very top line that separates the headpiece and the fretboard. So just make that line nice and thick and clear. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on this lower bit where the string's attached down here. So this bit down here, I'm just going to colour that in and make it a little bit thicker and clearer. So at the moment, your strings are still made with pencil lines, so you might just want to get a pen just to make them a bit clearer, and using a ruler, just go over those strings and make them a bit clearer. So I'm going to do the bottom half first and then the top half. Once you've done that, you can really carefully start to draw around that middle circle in a slightly thicker line, just to make it really obvious that that circle is there once you've coloured it in. So all the way around the edge of your circle, nice and carefully. I'm going freehand with mine, but if you want to get your stencil back, you can always use your stencil to draw back around that circle. Brilliant! There you have your ukulele. Now on an actual ukulele that you would play at school, you would have strings going across the top here to the winders, but in our instance we're leaving this blank just because in a later project we're going to be writing on there and we need it clear. Right, now for the colouring in. So I've got my colouring pencils here. I think I'm going to colour the body of my ukulele in green. So that's the whole bit underneath the strings. We go all the way around here. Maybe leave the inner circle blank. So then you can just get going with colouring in your ukulele, whatever colour you fancy. Fabulous, so colouring that body of the ukulele in really beautifully with a lovely bright colour to make your ukulele stand out. Now once you've done the body of your ukulele, you're going to need to colour in the circle that you made and the fretboard. Now I'm going to do those two the same colour. I'm going to choose a light brown for the middle of my ukulele and for my fretboard. So once again, I'm just going to colour those in. And off I go. So just finishing that fretboard, make sure it's all nice and coloured in, nice and neat. And then you're ready to do your headpiece. I've chosen a lighter green for my headpiece. Now I'm going to leave the winders white because that's what colour the winders are on the ukuleles in school. And then I'm just going to carefully colour around the whole of the headpiece until that is all coloured in as well. And there you go, you've got a ukulele. You've drawn on some strings with your frets going up your fretboard. You've got a lovely headpiece with 4 winders, and there you have your ukulele. You're ready to play.